Hey, John Prevost here for WhistleBiz.com. Thanks for tuning in again today. Today is part 2 of our LID series, Learning, Improvement, and Discovery series. Yesterday we jumped into rule number 1, which we discussed about level 5 leadership and how we can actually bring that down into our world. And today we're going to go into the second ground rule. But let's first talk about the effects of bringing level 5 leadership into our area. What does that manifestation look like? Well, I think a simple way, a convenient way to be able to look at that is by calling it servant leadership, or being able to serve first. And that really brings us into our second rule here, our second practice, commitment to practice, is serve first and ask second. When I managed project managers, this was the first thing I always told them. I said, you may come from a command and control type of background where you always tell people to do and you drive them, and that's great, but just as we saw with level 5 leadership, that's not sustainable. Number one, you only have so much political capital you can burn, and number two, when you're gone, that means the discipline's gone. But we want to build discipline that is continual and sustainable. So in my opinion, every project manager, I understood they have different styles and that sort of thing, but one thing I always demanded, I guess that is command and control, but one thing I always requested was that they lead with serving first, asking people what they could do for them first before they ever ask for a work result back from an individual. And that is the whole point of this, which is why it's so important to a learning organization, is that we have to be open, we have to be humble, or how will we ever learn if we're not transparent, open, and humble? And so these are why these ground rules are so important, because it's opening us up to the organization. Now, I can hear an objection, maybe not an objection, but a concern where people are maybe in their jobs right now and they're very defensive, and everything I'm saying, it may be nice because it's just for the right. It's the right thing to do. It's the good thing to do. However, that doesn't really answer for them the fact that they're in this defensive crouch in their cube and they don't feel supported, they don't feel encouraged, and they're freaked out. And what I'm asking is that they go out and they serve and they do things for all these people that have been, possibly bad to them. But if you, instead of looking at it as something to be concerned about, like this is hard or difficult to do, look at it as liberating yourself. Look at it. If you pull your ego out of the situation or just open and that sort of thing, that means you're not invested in it. You're out of your defensive crouch. Nobody can hurt you, right? Because you know that you're founded on these intellectual principles that we're talking about, which are just doing the right things by what evidence has told us to do, and not worrying about what does somebody think about you, or getting beat up by this person, or not being supported by this person, or this person talking about you, or whatever. Listen, you're just going out and you're doing the right thing, and you're affecting what your behavior is. And that's all you're doing. So it may sound very difficult, but I tell you, if you just start doing these steps, you will find that it's liberating at the same time, pulling yourself out. And if you see as your entire work environment as a case study, as something to learn from, you'll be extracting yourself, and you won't be able to be hurt. It'll be pulling you out of basically that defensive crouch, that defensive posture. And remember, all these things are practices. These ground rules that we're talking about, that we're trying to put in place as a foundation for our framework, it's not something that we're going to be able to go into work and just be fantastic with right up front. These are things that we're going to have to practice. We'll do it very poorly a number of times, and we'll get better. So just as we're learning, we want to be in a learning organization. We're going to be learning about how the foundations should look. So that's the other rule today. So serve first, ask second. So that's it for today. Hope you have a wonderful day. Look forward to any feedback that you have. Thanks so much. Bye.